Hello, Edu-Magicians. Welcome to the Edu-Magic Podcast with your host, Dr. Sam Fessich. Dr. Sam is a professor of education, author of Edu-Magic, and a pumpkin spice latte fan. This podcast is designed for pre-service teachers. Remember, friends, teaching doesn't begin at graduation, but during that first class at 8 a.m. Let's get this party started.
I'm Jake Miller from the Educational Duct Tape Podcast, a part of the Education Podcast Network, just like the show you're listening to now. Shows on the network are individually owned, and opinions expressed may not reflect those of others. Find other interesting education podcasts at edupodcastnetwork.com.
Hey Edu-Magicians, it's Sam, and before we start into this episode, I want to share with you about an amazing resource. It's called the Educator Candidate Member Portal. AAEE provides you with resources such as virtual job fairs, a job board, interview tips and prep, resume building, webinars. You can even get a copy of the Job Search Handbook digitally. So head on over to aaee.org and create your free Educator Candidate Member account today. Hello, friends, and welcome back to another episode of the Edu-Magic Podcast. My name is Dr. Sam Fessich, and today I have three amazing future teachers from Grove City College joining me today. They are Zachary Long, Juliana Gong, and Mia Snyder. And today we're going to be talking about the Bitmoji classroom. Now, I know that this is something y'all want to hear about because we put it out on Instagram and it was overwhelmingly, yes, we need an episode about this. So today we're going to be talking about what it is, why we want to use a Bitmoji classroom, pros and cons. There's pros and cons to every tech tool that we use, and how to create one using Buncee. So thank you for coming on the show today. I'm really excited to have you guys on.
Happy to be here.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
Yes, super excited.
So as you can see, guys, they are really excited to be here, right? And they're not going to get grade or any extra credit for this. This is just something fun we're going to do on the side here. So let's start off with what a Bitmoji classroom is. And Juliana, would you be able to take that one? So what is a Bitmoji classroom? Where have you seen it used? All those things.
Yeah, so Bitmoji Classroom is basically an online virtual space that mimics a real-life classroom. And so you can add in your Bitmoji, which is like an emoji characterization of yourself. And you can have a board or other fun elements in your classroom. And then your students can interact with that. And they can click on links and just get that kind of comfort and sense of familiarity that they would online as they would in real life.
Yeah, awesome. Zachary, do you have anything you want to add to that?
I would say that it's definitely just a place that, and beyond that, that you can teach from that space and you can teach from that classroom just like you would in person. Mm-hmm. And so there's, we'll get into that later with the pros and cons, but you can add links to things instead of, having separate links in chats and on assignments and everything. So that's always good to be able to do that, keep everything in one place and keep people organized.
Yeah, I like that. Mia, why is having a Bitmoji classroom important during this time for virtual teaching? Why is having a Bitmoji classroom important for future teachers to know about or current educators to use?
Right. So Bitmoji classroom is like key right now because of COVID and everything. Not everyone's actually in person, and that happens. So with the virtual classroom, you can put out material to reach your students, and it's like nothing's in person. It's all through the screen. So it's mega cool for that. But it's also just nice to have that connection in these times when we actually can't be together in a classroom. We do what we can and work with what we got. So, yeah.
Yeah, I like that. It's mega cool. So there's lots of pros to using a Bitmoji classroom. There's lots of cons to it as well. So we really need to think about the why behind creating a Bitmoji classroom. Know, friends, that you don't have to have a Bitmoji classroom to be an amazing educator of excellence. It's just something that you might want to think about creating and developing for your own online space or hybrid space to enhance your traditional learning environment or as a virtual learning space. So let's talk about those pros and cons. And Zach, I'm going to kick it on over to you. What are some pros and cons to creating, developing, using a Bitmoji classroom?
Yeah, so like I said earlier, I definitely think that you can create links to objects to online sources, and you can link that to a certain object that the students can click on, and it'll take them somewhere. A classmate of mine used it as a welcome form for the classroom, so it kind of served as her attendance sheet, which is also very helpful. I like it because the pro to it, I think, is when you walk into a learning space, and online learning is already so awkward for kids, and you're kind of just all staring at each other and like, ooh, like who's going to talk now? And you don't get those cues that you would in in-person classes. So it kind of creates this environment where you get to learn the teacher a little bit, and you're not just staring at their face or a background or a blank screen 24/7. A con would definitely be that you can get super into it, too aggressive with it, put too much in, make it more confusing, too much stuff, and then you're wasting, teacher time trying to create something that, you just spent way too much time on and you forgot to do content or whatever. So.
Right. We don't want to forget about the content, the standards, the objectives, those important things that we need to cover. Juliana, what about you? Do you have anything you'd like to add about pros and cons to creating and developing a Bitmoji classroom?
Yeah, so as Zachary had mentioned, just the learning space is so important, especially when you're online. And so your Bitmoji classroom can be a welcoming space that your students can just feel more connected. And it also allows them to kind of work a little bit more at their own pace because they can click on links and watch videos and go back and watch them as many times as they need. And then one con on the student side is maybe they might feel a little overwhelmed or see so many things and get distracted by everything.
Right.
But if you can flip that back to a pro and maybe take like one or two things out, it's a great way so that, for those students that maybe are excelling at one thing, they can work on what they need to rather than repeating information.
Absolutely. I like how you said from the student perspective, it could be a little overwhelming, some distraction there. So that's why whenever we're creating that Bitmoji class, we're making sure it's functional, it's fun, and it's informative for our students. Now, Mia, what do we need to get started when creating a Bitmoji classroom?
To get started, you definitely need to have your Bitmoji created. So that's a good starting place to have. And from there, really all you need is access to Buncee, because that's where, you actually start putting things together. It's not like you need to download 5 different programs for this. It's just a website. So it's really nice and easy to use. So yeah, that's where I would start for that.
So we know that Bitmoji is an app. How do we get it on our computer, Mia?
So it is on it's like through Google Chrome, and it's just like you add it on as, I think it's called like an app or something, or an extension. That's what it's called. So yeah. You just like download it through that, and then you can link it to whatever through Google Chrome.
Right. So Mia's talking about if you head on over to the Chrome web store, you can download the extension Bitmoji, and you can access it right there through your browser. Right click. Find whatever Bitmoji you need in your classroom, which, by the way, my students showed me that you can search school and Bitmoji and all these school ones come up. So excited about that. So I definitely use that like maybe today. So there's lots of ways you can search your Bitmoji, sitting, standing, pointing, or whatever you want to do, making sure it's appropriate for school. Now, Juliana, can you share about Buncee? How do we get started with Buncee? Because that's there's several ways you can create a Bitmoji classroom: Google Slides, PowerPoint, Canva. But for our class, we chose to use Buncee. And can you explain to us what it is and how we get started with it?
Yeah, so Buncee is a great platform for getting started. First, you have to create an account. And then it gives you a whole bunch of options where you can choose from templates or you can start from scratch. And so when I personally created my classroom, I started from scratch. And then it gives you different tools where you can add in pictures or backgrounds or videos, and then you can resize them, add text, whatever you want, and drag all of these different elements into your classroom and move them around to suit your needs.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what are some cool things you found to add to your Bitmoji classroom using Buncee?
So I liked adding in all of the seating choices. You could add in pictures of like bean bags or just teacher chairs and swivel chairs, whatever you want. And then it's cool that you can add the Bitmojis that are sitting down on them.
Yes.
But then as a teacher, I think what is most useful would be the links. So you can choose a certain element in your classroom and then link content to that, so that when students go in, if they click on that picture or that element, then it takes them to a website or a video, and then that can help them with the information that they are learning.
Yeah, that's awesome. Zachary, what are some tips that you have when creating a Bitmoji classroom in Buncee?
Yeah, I would definitely say don't make it too much. Don't overcrowd your space, but definitely personalize it. I wish this was a little bit more visual so you could see. I got it behind me in this little background, but I have a Pittsburgh sports banner behind me, a poster, and it's you kind of get to play like GTV designer and make it your own. And I definitely think that that's fun, and you get you can make it fun, but it's supposed to still be professional. So you still want it to make it that classroom setting and not just like a bedroom, but
right.
So I definitely enjoy that and think that making it professional, but about you, but a good visual to look at for the students is really, really important.
Yeah, I like that. Thanks, Zachary. Mia, what are some things that you added to your classroom that made it really unique?
So for my classroom, I added like a bunch of different plants because I love plants. So like in my dorm room, I have like all this stuff, and, like just everything's plant themed in here. So I was like, that's part of me in real life, so I'm gonna make it part of me in my virtual life.
I like that.
And then like I put like positive quotes in there as well, because that's also a big thing that I like, is just like uplifting others, and especially for students, they need that. It's like learning virtually, no one likes it, so you need that extra positivity in the background to keep you going. So yeah, that's
Absolutely.
something I added in mine.
Yes, I like that. I love the positive quotes. I like how you incorporated things that you love in real life into your classroom, kind of like Zachary did with his Pittsburgh banner, and you did with your plants. And there's lots of different things you can add to your Bitmoji classroom. So like Juliana said, you can add in video, images, links, and you can also add in animated stickers right within Bitmoji too. What else can you put in there? You can upload your own content. Anything else that I missed? Nope.
No, I think you got it all. I think another thing though is you can make like multiple pages on it. So you can like be like, oh, like let's walk over to the math section, and then be like, oh, let's walk over to the science lab, and just like clicking arrows.
Yes, I like that. And I like that you can like link between different pages in your Bitmoji classroom to the reading nook and to the social studies corner and all the things you have within your classroom space. Friends, I want to thank you for jumping on with me episode. Before we end out today, I'd love for you guys to share about what you're studying and how college life is going for you all. What are you studying and what has brought you into the field of education?
So I'm Mia Snyder. I'm a freshman at Grove City College, and my major is elementary and special education. So kind of what made me choose the teaching profession is I went to a summer camp, and I bonded rather with other campers with the counselors, and they were all education majors. So they treated me just like one of them, which is really welcoming. And I was like, you know what? I probably should do this because I just love these people, and I want to be like them when I'm older. So yeah, that's kind of what caught me there.
I like that. Thanks, Mia.
Okay, so I'm Juliana Gong, and I am a freshman elementary education major at Grove City. And I got interested in teaching when I was about 4 years old. So when I was 4, I was basically like, yes, I want to teach 4-year-olds. So I've just always loved learning and helping out other kids. And then growing up and going through elementary school, just all of my teachers were so amazing, and they continue to inspire me and just reinforce that idea that I wanted to teach.
I love it. That's great. And I think a lot of us come to the teaching field from all these different paths. So some of us walk into the teaching field, some of us roller skate, some of us skateboard, and some of us do a scooter, or some of us moonwalk into the teaching field. We all get there in different ways. But, as long as we're impacting students and that's at the heart of it, that's all that matters. Zachary, how did you come into the teaching field?
So I'm Zachary Long. I'm a sophomore here at Grove City, and I'm a middle level math and science major. I actually didn't start education. I started biohealth, or our pre-med program, basically. And after a while, after some thought and consideration, I thought, wow, bio and chem, not for me. So I kind of moved on, and then I moved to secondary ed bio, and then I had a couple talks with professors and ended up moving to middle level. And I went to a very small public high school, and there's a really big community there between teachers and students and administrators and coaches. And I mean, I could name about 12 teachers, coaches, whatever, that went to high school with my mom. So like, it's a very small knit community. And I love the way that they kept it professional, but it was still like that hometown family. There's that, and then what keeps me going now in 2020 would definitely be, you're like, oh, like it's gonna be so hard. Like you start thinking about it, and then I go to class and I sit in a professor's education course, and I think, wow, like I'm excited about this. And you get going and you get excited, and then you get back into the swing of being excited for it. So.
That's awesome. I like that. See, wasn't that fun? We all came to education from all these different ways. I think that's so cool, and learning about people's journeys. All right, friends, I want to thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the EduMagic podcast. Please reach out to these amazing educators. Their links to their Instagrams will be in the show notes, along with their own Bitmoji classrooms as well. So check them out. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys on the flippity flip. Remember, you have the EduMagic within you. Bye for now.
And there you have it, EduMagicians. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and share it with your friends. For more EduMagic, check out sfessage.com and follow Dr. Sam on Twitter and Instagram @sfessage. Until next time, you have the EduMagic within you.